I think that's kind of a misperception about you, though. I think a lot of the media painted you to be, yes, you were open about the drugs. I think you were just painted to be a fame whore. Really, I do. Don't you?
Um, yeah, because it's easier to look at surface level stuff than it is to look at the greater. And I think that that's really what my mission is now, is to like challenge the narrative. And like I feel like the fame thing is like a cop out. Like I feel like it's really like a cop out. It's a way for us to not really focus on the actual problem, because we have the highest incarceration rate of anywhere in the world, and we're unwilling to look at why that is and how traumatizing that is for children and for families, and how it literally creates systemic poverty and pain, and which results in more drug addiction and more crime, right? So we're not willing to look at that. So what we do is we just point our fingers and go, well, they're drug addicts, so they belong in jail, or they committed a crime, so they belong in jail. And I'm not saying that there's no place for a for reform, or for it's not like everybody should be released from jail. Like, I'm not saying if you murder someone, you shouldn't go to jail. I'm just saying I think we can have these conversations now, which we're starting to have. We're starting to see it, especially with Gen Z. Shout out to any Gen Zers who listen to this podcast. Like, I stand for you so hard, because you guys are really waking up and doing the work that we hoped millennials would do but didn't. And it's like, I think it's like a cop out to like go, oh, it's like fame obsession or whatever it is. It's not. It's so much more nuanced than that. And I think it's just kind of lazy for us to go, oh, it's this thing, or it's this thing, or it's this thing, without really being willing to look at like the trauma. Because the thing is, like, had I not been abused in the way that I was, I would have never ended up robbing Orlando Bloom's house. That's just the truth. And so it's like we have to have the ability to zoom out and to look at like the cyclical effects of trauma, and like look and broaden like the responsibility of crime. Like, I assure you, the women that I met in jail who were in there serving time for crimes, or who were spending years away from their families just because they couldn't afford bail for drug crimes, which is absurd. Like, okay, so say you have a woman who goes into jail and she was caught selling cocaine. She had an ounce of cocaine on her. It was her drug dealer boyfriend. They have a kid together. It's easy to go, well, she was dealing drugs, and drugs is illegal and you shouldn't be dealing drugs. It takes more empathy and the ability to like actually think, to go, well, wait a second, what was her home life like? And now that she's in jail because she can't afford bail, what's happening to her children? And then as a result of her and her boyfriend being in jail, and the children being in the home environment now with her parents that created the mess that became her, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
those children. And what about the 500,000 children who are in foster care and all of the things? It's like we're unwilling to look at like the bigger systemic issues, and instead we just want to keep having scapegoats in our society to make ourselves feel better about our shitty choices.